Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, let's go. Kevin here, top 100 financial advisor and best-selling author. We are here to talk about the stock market. Today was a day. If you go and look in the dictionary and look for the word volatility or roller coaster, you're going to find today's date because that's exactly what the stock market gave us. We got inflation, the inflation report this morning, and that's kind of what started this. And economists expected inflation to be up by 0.2%. That ain't what happened. Inflation was up by 0.4%, double what the expectation was. So this morning, if you were paying attention to the market fell. It just fell off. It was going to be, again, one of the worst days of the year, which is just one of the other days of the year because 2022 hadn't been all that great for most companies. And when I checked my phone and got the alert, so, stock market down 500 points. It ain't good. It's basically what my phone was telling me all morning. And then around 10:30, going on 11, the market said, hey, I got other stuff to do. And at one point, the stock market was up by 1,300 points. As a whole, percentage-wise, the entire market was up close to 2%. And it ended up being one of the best days in all of 2022. You had from, oh, here we go again, to, hey, this is a good day. All within, the time frame of 9:30 to 4 p.m. Eastern time. That is what happened. So today we need to discuss what is it that you need to pay attention to as an investor, because if we are going to go into a recession, if inflation is going to continue, if the Federal Reserve is going to continue to raise interest rates, that puts a lot of pressure on you as an investor. And honestly, a little anxiety because you're holding individual stocks. Some of us are holding index funds and whatever else you're holding. The question is, what do I need to pay attention to? Should I continue to hold this investment or should I get rid of it? So today I'm going to show you what to pay attention to and how to really make that decision. I'll be putting some notes on the screen. I've got some notes here myself that I want to kind of guide you through. Now today I'm going to focus on one specific thing. Okay, now it's not the only thing you should always pay attention to. I just want to hone in on one specific thing to really drive the point home of how important this single metric is. And in our members only, it'll probably be tomorrow because I have more time tomorrow. I'm gonna show you where to find this information and how to kind of compare everything together. So if you're not a part of the members only, you want to do that right now. That link is right here. All right, so here's the thing. You want to pay attention to what is called gross profit. I know someone had asked me, can I put out a list of financial ratios and things that you should pay attention to? I'm working on that. It's going to take some time to put all that in a video that actually makes sense. But aside from that, gross profit tells us how much a company is making from producing things. We call this cost of goods sold. So you sell something for $1, or you sell something, let's do $2. You sell something for $2, it costs you $1 to make it. Your gross profit is $1. Here's the thing. Gross profit does not take into account all of the fixed costs, the factories, the salaries, the marketing expenses, because you didn't really use that to, go into the exact product. You're going to have to pay, rent in either case, right? You was going to have to pay insurance fees or whatever it was going to be. You had to pay that anyway. Whether you produced a profit, whether you produced a pen, a pencil, whatever it was, that mortgage was there on the building. The lease was there on the building. So it just takes in, Are you profitable from the stuff that you actually make? Yes or no? That is the key thing that you want to pay attention to. And here's why. If you don't have a gross profit, you're not going to have a net profit. Net profit is what you have after all the bills are paid. So obviously, if your gross profit is there, you have a chance, not a guarantee, but a chance that you're going to have just a decent, profitable business. These profits are extremely important. And we talked a little bit about this before, because if you're a business, let's say Apple or what have you, and you have a solid gross profit, that profit is continually increasing or at least steady and solid, that usually means that you don't have to borrow money. If you don't have to borrow money, you're not subject to or not as subject to the pain that others are seeing because of higher increased interest rates. But some banks are cutting back on some loans, and they're not going to be as generous with putting out all that money to help you grow your business because they're expecting a recession. They're also looking at your company and say, ooh, you haven't made any money. You don't have gross profit. I'm not going to loan you anything because you're probably not going to be able to pay me back. So I'm just going to hold on to this money and just wait until the economy changes. You're probably going to hear a lot of that once the banks start to announce their earnings tomorrow. Okay, so gross profit is the thing you want to pay attention to. Now, here's the exact reason why, and here's where some of the notes come in. I'll put something on the screen in a sec, but I want to compare this. So let's take Pepsi and Coca-Cola. So Pepsi just announced their earnings the other day. Their gross profit was up 8% year over year. Okay, Pepsi gross profit up 8% year over year. And they reported their earnings, I think, on September 30th for 2022. Okay, when we say year over year, September 2021, September 2022. Now, when I compare that to Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola's gross profit was up 2.4% year over year from June of 2022 to June of 2021. Coca-Cola will release their updated earnings here in the next few weeks or so. We can come back and kind of compare. However, here's the thing. Over the last 6 months, which one of these stocks do you think has done better? We look at the numbers. Pepsi is up 0.8% over the last 6 months, and then Coca-Cola is down 14%. Down 14% over the last 6 months. Now, again, it is not the only thing I am paying attention to. However, if I just need a quick snapshot to say, hey, what is going on here? And if I'm looking at Pepsi and say, hey, look, your gross profit is growing significantly faster than Coca-Cola, hey, I might want to choose something that has a gross profit, number one, because not every company does. But two, I can kind of measure and say, like, hey, I think Pepsi is running things a bit better. They're selling things a lot easier, apparently. I might want to go with something like Pepsi versus something like Coca-Cola. The other thing, when you're looking at all these gross profits, it's easier to say, to see how gross profits are moving year over year and compare them. The important thing here is to compare them to other companies in their vicinity, like Pepsi and Coca-Cola makes sense. Delta, American Airlines and Spirit, y'all get the point here. So you can kind of see how you should probably compare things. Here's the other thing I want to pay attention to, or help you to kind of look at here. Okay, Zoom was one of the best companies in 2020 from a return perspective. I think they went public in 2019, if I remember correctly. And a lot of people are wondering, like, why is Zoom not zooming? Why is Zoom not up 400% or whatever it was in years past? Well, let's take a look at how the gross profits have changed. And I'll put this one up on the screen. Take a look here. You can see that in 2020, their gross profit from 2019 was up 88%. And then from 88% gross profit growth, you go to 260. Like, think about that for a second. You had an 88% growth in gross profit. You made 88% more money, basically. And then the next year, you made 260% more money. Of course, that was a great stock. Anybody would invest in anything like that. However, you know what's about to happen next, right? That is not sustainable. So let's take a look back here. So you go from that 280 and then you go down to 66%, which is really good. But then you go from 66% growth down to 25% growth in gross profit. Now it's like, all right, well, what's happening now? And then you go from 25% just to 8% gross profit. That alone tells me the story as to why I would assume, right, from the outside looking in, without looking at all the other external factors, I would already assume, like, hey, this business is not as profitable as what it used to be. That is obvious. And this is why, so far over the last 6 months, and this is just the last 6 months, but I go back a year, it could get even worse here. Zoom is down, I think, 29%. I think it's like 29.8 if I remember correctly. I'll put it here. Y'all can see what it is, how far it's down. And I don't know why I try to memorize all these things. But aside from all of that, you can see that, you know, gross profit, again, it's not the only thing I'm paying attention to, but in terms of, like, are you making money from the stuff that you're selling? Yes or no? And that's just what I need to know. Because if you can't do that, you can't do nothing else. You have no business being in business if you're not making money, if you're not making a profit just from the stuff that you sell. So if you are highly profitable and that profit, the gross profit is growing year over year over year, that's great. But if I start to see it slow down like this, that's the problem. Because if you went from 260 and it dropped to 66 and it dropped to 25 and it dropped to 8, and I know and assume that there's going to be a recession next year, what if it's negative? Why would I still own a business like that? That's not good. right? These are the things you want to pay attention to. A company like Peloton has a similar pattern here. So what you want to do is you can Google gross profit into the company, just look at it that way, and say, of all the companies I have, is it similar, right? And how is it comparing to things, again, in its category? And that's really going to tell you what companies can be solid, because again, what is it, 0.008% for Pepsi in 6 months? I mean, that's not great, but the stock market over the same time is down double digits. So sure, I'll take the 0.8 gain as opposed to taking any loss, but especially a double digit loss. Or even like Coca-Cola, that was down 14%. So yeah, I'll take the 0.8 in a year like this. But that is one of the main things that you want to pay attention to. Gross profit. Okay, not the only thing in the world. I'm not saying that you just look at that and just make an investment decision blindly. However, if you are reviewing your portfolio, just like I will in December, or you should be looking at your portfolio right now, go ahead, take a look at those and compare it to other things in your portfolio, but most importantly, compare it to its peers and see if your gross profit is declining. If it is, and the stock is down, you see why. Here's the other thing. Here's the key. Here's the secret for those who are still here, and hit the like and subscribe button. If you find a company, and I don't know of any right now off the top of my head, but I'm telling you this is the case. If you see a company that has solid to increasing gross profit year over year, and the stock is still down, that is usually a sign that it's undervalued. And that would be a golden gem where I'm taking money and I'm investing almost immediately if I come across one like that. Now, we may talk about this in the members only, so I'm really going to hone in on gross profit and other things you should pay attention to. You definitely want to hit the join now button for that. That link will be here. But in either case, that is undervalued because it's showing you that this company is making more money, even in a recession, even in increased interest rates and all this stuff. And the stock is down, that's saying, hey, the market just hasn't realized how valuable this business is, and it's probably something that people aren't paying attention to. This would be your chance to get it now, because should this get worse, and most people just assume that it will because we've had several signs that spending is slowing down, then everybody's going to be looking for value companies. Everybody's going to be looking for businesses that are making money. You could be on that right now ahead of the curve. And that's some of the things that Warren Buffett does. It's some of the things they talk about in The Intelligent Investor and everywhere else. So again, gross profit, that is the thing you want to pay attention to. If the companies are consistently growing, even in a time like this, that's where you want to be. If you see one that is consistently losing money or was fine and then they're suddenly negative and they've been negative for a while, again, Peloton, Zoom is not negative yet. I don't want Zoom to be negative, but you can start to see like it's just not doing what it used to do. That's where you're seeing these significant dips and these significant falls because of this exact factor, this exact type of basic business logic here. So pay attention to that. Inflation is still high. We'll see what the Fed does. We're expecting a 0.75% increase, and that's it. Now, the last thing I'll say, again, almost the last thing I almost always say, is make sure you do join the members only, because I've got a lot of stuff to do this weekend, a lot of stuff to show y'all, especially in the members only. I got to make a watch list for y'all. I started, but then obviously this inflation news really took my schedule off course. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to talk a lot about gross profit and how to find that information and how to really simplify your investing decisions and help you to know whether or not you own something of quality, where it's like, hey, look, I know the market's down, but I know this company is good, and here's why, versus I'm just holding on for dear life. I don't know if this is worth it or not. So definitely a video you don't want to miss. It'll probably come out on Friday. That's the goal. Because again, I want to pull together everything to make it real simple and easy so you can make an investment decision, as opposed to stressing out and needing a calculator and a ton of charts. Okay. All right. If you want to do that and see that video and learn everything that we've talked about inside the members only, I think we've had more than 15 videos. We do a video every single week. I address your questions, do deep dive, and everything you need to become a better investor. All right. That is it for me. I'll talk to you later. Bye.